Every single day, you make hundreds of decisions. What to eat, what to buy, who to date, whether to work out, whether to make that phone call, whether to start that business. Most people assume these decisions are rational, but psychology suggests something different. Very often, we feel first. Then we explain our decisions afterward. If that's true, then understanding how we make decisions may be one of the most important skills we can develop. Welcome to VICTORPATH. So, I would like to consider myself a smart person. I would go to say very smart, but throughout life, I've made very, very, very bad decisions. And I'm not still 100% immune from bad decisions. I still make bad decisions, more in a smaller capacity now than ever before because I'm older and I'm wiser. But um, I hope throughout my presentations and all the subjects that we spoke about, I haven't come across as too perfect. I have made bad decisions in my life. I'm fortunate not to be in jail. I'm fortunate not to be dead early. And um, it's, as long as you're breathing, it's never too late, really, unless it's really something egregious and you have to suffer the consequences. But even then, you know, it's, it's, you might be under, if you do something egregious, you're going to go to jail if you get caught. But, you could turn things around and, just, you have to suffer the consequences of that. But, hopefully I could, with my message, I could lead a lot of people away from this jail and away from making bad, costly decisions, or even just decisions that compound and just make your life more difficult. But let's start with point one. Emotions often come before logic. Emotions often come before logic. This is one of the main reasons why we make bad decisions. Smart people make bad decisions. We all feel emotions, no matter how smart you are or dumb you are, we all feel emotions. And this is why you could see people who excel professionally or academically, but when you look at examine them personally, you see a series of decisions in poor emotional state. And we'd like to believe that we're rational. We'd like to believe it. It's easy to believe that you're, perfect as perfect human being. You have no flaws. You have no kink in your armor. But sometimes we're not so rational. A lot of the times we're not rational. This goes for me too. And one of the unfortunate realities of decision making is that fear can be a barrier. Fear can stop us before we begin. And it's not, fear shouldn't be ignored, no, but fear shouldn't determine your next step. Fear has to be analyzed, and you determine how you proceed, with what level of caution. Excitement can make us overlook risk. So you could be in a high elevated, excited mindset, and you're just way too eager to overlook that red flag, that red flag, that red flag, that red flag. The most easiest system to observe this isn't dating, but it really happens in, consumer decisions and, you know, etc. Everything, anything you could think of. Anger narrows our thinking. So when you're angry, you're just thinking about attacking the thing that makes you, that made you angry without taking a step back and calming down, relaxing, and questioning why it's getting you angry in the first place. So when you're angry, you're naturally on a narrow path to fix the external instead of fixing the internal, why you got angry in the first place. And this goes for me too. Ego makes admitting mistakes difficult. This is one of the reasons why it's pointless to get into verbal spats and arguments with people because their ego is not going to allow them to a lot of times admit that they're wrong. I have multiple friends and family that, as you see, like you guys see, and this is one of the things that I want to stay true to throughout my life, and I'm also gonna write about more explicitly. Self-reflection, radical self-reflection. I believe strongly in holding myself accountable for outcomes that surround me or that I contribute to, then always pointing the finger is that person for that person for that person for. We live in a society where and most people play the victim. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. I believe I have to blame myself and fix myself. A lot of the times, why did I even contribute in the first place to this? Why did I participate in this system? Now, it's not to say that the external forces don't contribute to the outcome, but it's even if that's true, it's better if I analyze myself more thoroughly. But a lot of times we have ego, and because we don't want people to see us in a certain light, we fail to admit when we're wrong to fix ourselves. And you may feel like you're winning in a moment, but in the long term, compounds. The more you don't fix yourself, it's going to be a bigger explosion down the road that you fail to fix. So examples could be, buying something because it feels good, staying in bad relationships because leaving feels uncomfortable, avoid a difficult conversation because of fear. I mean, I could tell you with my mom, the last 10 years of her life, there were so many difficult conversations that I know needed to be had, but it was just hard for her to have it. And it's not just with my mom, it's many family and friends that, and I don't force conversations upon people. I just separate and do it my way. May the best man or woman win. I don't force my ideas on anybody. I want to win. And if I don't see a winning mindset, you don't have to do it exactly how I do it, but the mindset has to be there. Like we have to win and we're not playing victim. We're gonna go get it. If I don't see that mindset, you do it your way. I do it my way. And if I need to ask you for something, I'm not just gonna ask you for a favor. I'm gonna put some money on the line or something, but I'm not just asking you for no, do this for me, do no, 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 money, money. And I hope it's the same way in return because you have to value your time. You have to value your time and people when they see you on the rise, when they see you doing good things, they want to steal that thunder, but they didn't help you to get the thunder. No, they gotta value your time. You have to make people value your time. You value your time most importantly, and make them value your time. And you know, if they want to proceed with you, you have to have the difficult conversations. If not, you do things your way, I do things my way. May the best man or woman win. So, how many of your biggest decisions were actually emotional? Think about that. How many of your biggest decisions were emotional? Point two, every decision has an opportunity cost. Every decision has an opportunity cost. So every yes is also a no. So if I decide to watch Netflix, what does that mean? That means that I'm losing an hour of reading probably, which is better for the brain, the mind. Yeah, Netflix is more entertaining probably, but reading, it ignites your imagination. It improves your problem solving capabilities. Saying yes to sleeping in, you might be saying no to the gym. Saying that yes to unnecessary spending, you might be saying no to investing. So you have to think about the opportunity cost of your time, your money, your health, your relationships, your career. If I make this decision, what is it taken away from? And am I willing to risk that? Not just today, 5 years from now. Point three, small decisions become identity. So your identity is not built overnight. A lot of you people went fast, you went quick. Take your time, be patient, endure the journey. Often, a lot of times, the journey is a lot more beneficial and important than the actual destination. The journey. Take your time. There's no rush. You rush it because you're trying to do it for other people. Forget them. Do it for you. Unlock what's in here. Identity is built one decision at a time. One workout. Okay, one workout. Cool. I'll do another one. Or one skip workout. You're allowed to have one, but don't do too many. One chapter written. One sales call. One difficult conversation. One healthy meal. None of those seem life changing, but built off of that one decision. What could you do now based off of that one decision? You create what? A pattern. So I did that yesterday. Okay, cool. I did that. I ran a mile yesterday. Okay. Maybe I need a day to recover or two. I could do that mile again. And then now I'm more conditioned. I could do maybe 2 miles, 3 miles. I could do a mile in less time. Patterns. Until you've repeated them hundreds of times. Identity follows your repetition. Identity follows your repetition. Point four, decision fatigue. This is very important. So your brain has limited decision-making energy. So you have to be resourceful with your decision-making energy in your brain. It's limited, but you have to make a lot of decisions throughout the day. But good news is a lot of them are smaller. But now when you start to get into the bigger decision, that's when it starts to like, and on top of the small decisions that you made, then that's when, okay, you have to start thinking about being resourceful with your brain, decision making energy. The more unnecessary decisions you make, the worse your important decisions become. So, you know, once you start, ideas of good decisions to make, that um will that will help you in the long term and not limit you are meal preps. We could take away from a lot of the smaller decisions that you have to make when you're hungry, morning routines, your clothing choice, workout schedule, budgeting. If you organize these, it will take away from decision fatigue and just being consumed with this decision, that decision. Now you set up a system. I talk about this all the time, a system for yourself, and where a lot of these decisions are automated. And you know that you can't eat that because you already prepped for this. You can't do this in the morning because you already have this morning routine. You're not going to wear that choice of clothing because this choice of clothing is going to get you more favorable results in the setting that you are. You already thought it out. You don't have to think it out in the moment and go from here to there and there and there and then burn out your decision making ability. Point five, great lives. This is the last point by the way. Point five, great lives are built through ordinary decisions. Great lives are built through ordinary decisions. It's a common misconception that a lot of people have. You see people with these extraordinary lives, extravagant, glamorous lives, and you think often that they made extraordinary decisions to get there. And often it's just small, systematic, compounding decisions. They kept consistent. People wait for one big, giant, one big breakthrough, one perfect opportunity, one life changing moment. But most successful people simply make slightly better decisions. And that's just the truth. Have to make better decisions consistently. And you have to reduce the amount of big decisions you make. You're going to make bad decisions, but limit the big ones. And of course, the small ones too, because they compound, but the big ones, they could damage you a lot. So you have to be wiser. You have to be smarter with your decision making. Have to be repeatedly. So most people make better decisions repeatedly for years. Small choices become habits. Habits become your character. Your character shapes your destiny. With that said, writing the Chimera Universe taught me something I didn't expect. The hardest part wasn't creativity. That came natural. It wasn't talent. That comes natural. It wasn't making this. It was making decision to sit down and write again and again. Every chapter existed because I chose progress over procrastination. The same is true for the characters. Their lives don't change because of one dramatic speech. They change because of the decisions they make under pressure. That's true in fiction, and that's true in real life. Your future isn't determined by what you hope for. It isn't determined by what you say you want. It's determined by what you repeatedly choose. Every ordinary decision is casting a vote for the person you're becoming. So choose carefully, think critically, question assumptions, choose direction.